Hi, I'm Melisa Uchida.
And I'm Dagmar Bohlmann.
We're here from Yoga Masters Academy, and today we're talking about yoga mats.
We use it all the time, and there are so many questions. People, especially that are new to yoga, come up to us and ask, what's a good yoga mat to buy?
I think it's actually one of the questions that people ask me more than any other question is what yoga mat? Now, I have right now, I own about 6 or 7 mats, and in my life,
Hello.
Lucy. So yoga mats, there are so many different types of yoga mats, and it really is a confusing world. There are a lot more now even than there were when we first started. My primary, I would say, is, well, first let's talk about what you should do. Go to Yoga Alliance. If you've graduated from your 200-hour teacher training, register with Yoga Alliance. Once you register, you get a discount with Manduka
And Jade.
and there are probably some others, maybe Gaia or something.
Yep.
Um,
So find out where you can get discounts also on wherever you are choosing your yoga mat to buy, like Lululemon or
REI.
REI. I don't think REI has a discount program for instructors, but Lululemon does. So you can at least get 20% off because it is an investment.
Oh, and Athleta.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
So make sure that you always use your instructor discount whenever you can, because we know they're pricey, and that's another thing. What's your price point? A good yoga mat's going to start around $80 probably, and go up. We just looked at some that were $285. So I don't own one of those, but you can definitely you can spend what you spend, and I will say that the ones right around $100, like that's kind of where you want to go,
Because they do last a lot longer than the $10 mats that you can pick up at Target. So if you think about sustainability, you're doing yourself a favor by buying a mat that you'll be happy with for 10 years, rather than one that is going to wear out after one.
So what's the size that you want? Some of them, like Manduka, makes an extra long. That's for if you're really tall, even if you're sequencing, we're kind of moving around a bit more, you might want the extra long one. And then also how thick and how much does it weigh? So I love a Manduka Pro. I love it. I've had Manduka Pros since they first came out, but they do weigh 9 pounds. So just know if that's your going to work, you're going to the studio mat, that's one that you're going to be carrying. Now I use the Manduka Pro at home, and I keep that there for my home practice. And I have a lighter mat that I use and I carry. And I love the Manduka, the Ecos. I like the weight of them. I think they're about 5 pounds, and I like the thickness too.
And that's exactly what I'm doing as well. And it's funny, depending on who you talk to, everybody has a favorite brand. So I happen to also love Manduka. I tried out a Jade mat, and I stubbed my toes stepping forward from a downward dog so many times because probably I didn't lift my foot high enough. But anyway, also the surface is a little bit rougher. Yet there are some people who love Jades because they say that Mandukas are too slippery for them.
Yeah, and I find that I slip on the Jades though, that my Jade and the mat actually moves. But everyone has a different thing that they like. I also like the Lululemon, the grippy ones. So you can always do that. What we would suggest is going to a store and trying them out.
And preferably a store where you can return them, like REI. They have a really generous return policy. So try it yourself before you recommend it to somebody else, and know that you might also develop your own preferences depending on your needs. I would love to add a cork mat to my little mat collection, because if I practice outside, my black Pro gets so hot, but the cork mat doesn't heat up. So that's also something to consider. If you're practicing outside in the sunshine, what color do you want, and what material would you like?
Oh, that's a good point. The color, you're right, because the sun will go to the black mats. The cork mats, I found they do break down a little bit faster. So with a Manduka Pro, you get 10 years. That's what Manduka guarantees on them. A cork mat might last you, I think with Nate, they lasted him like 2 to 3 years.
Okay. So that's a consideration. And also, if you're practicing in a hot yoga room, you might want to get a towel to go on top of your yoga mat, and not just any towel, but maybe one that that has little knobs underneath it, so it adheres better to your mat, so it doesn't stretch and you're on a slide on your towel.
Oh, that's a good idea. And also with the thickness of the mat, there are a lot of students that need a thicker mat because of knees or hands and wrists. So with the knees, what I found is that a lot of students get almost a Pilates kind of a mat, which is too thick for the standing sequences. So it would be better to actually not get the thickest mat possible, because when you stand on it, it ends up being really slippery and unstable for your ankles. And instead getting the regular yoga mat, I'm not talking a $10 yoga mat, but a regular thickness yoga mat, and then cutting up the old yoga mats, or they have these things called rat pads, which are specifically for your knees that will give you extra padding.
And speaking of cutting things up, if you have old yoga mats that you're no longer using, don't just trash them because they are really hard to break down, but think about ways how you can reuse them in your own home. So you could be cutting them up and use them between pots, so the pots don't slam against each other. That's what I have done. I've also used them in the bottom of drawers, so stuff doesn't slide around on drawers. Think about ways how maybe in the garage you could put stuff on the yoga mat, or in your trunk in your car, to keep it clean when your dog jumps in, something like that. So instead of just trashing it and buying yet another new one, think about how you can use the old one so it gets a second life.
And some animal shelters also like the yoga mats because they cut them up and they use them kind of as dog beds to give the dogs a little bit of soft padding in the animal shelter. So you can check with your local shelter.
Perfect. So reach out to us if you have any further questions. That's it today. I think we need to go walk the dog.
Yeah, okay, bye-bye.
Take care.